Please like and subscribe. Let's grow NAIA basketball. Thank you. Cascade Hoops Talk, bringing the world NAIA basketball one podcast at a time. Hey, Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Well, happy Tuesday. Not a lot of basketball action last night. There was a little bit. We'll talk about that. But we're also going to have Sean Hanrahan. He's the head men's basketball coach at Warner. You know, they beat Florida Memorial the other night in their Sun Conference opener. I guess that was on Saturday. So we wanted to get a hold of Coach Hanrahan. Had a great conversation with him. And then update you on just couple of other quick things. So let's get right at it. Two things. First, Hoop Dirt Coach of the Week, Josh Pickens, Lawrence Tech. Congratulations, Coach Pickens. That's a great honor. Also, Lance Von Vogt, he's having a birthday. You know, he's been a friend of this show, and this is his last birthday with the NAI. We want to wish Coach Von Vogt as well as Jessup University a lot of luck as they move forward to the NC2A, and we hope they're very successful at that level. So first thing we're going to start with is Brady Tim. He's the Doane Tigers. You know, they won that. They had that 4 overtime epic against Briarcliff on Saturday, and Doane did an interview with him right after the game. So he scored 41 points, by the way, 41 points. So let's listen to Brady Tim talk about the 4 overtime game against Briarcliff.
Yeah, I mean, there were multiple stretches there where, I mean, we had 2 or 3 overtimes where we were down 4 or even 5. Like, I don't know if we got at the end of regulation, we were down 5. I think there was even a couple overtimes where we were down 4. And it's just like each time we had a timeout, we kind of had time to overthink, and to not overthink it, to think about it. And it was that just took everyone from the bench just being able to support the mission that was on the court. Like, just I remember when we were down 5 in the regulation, I kind of had my head down a little bit just because teams don't come back from 5 with 19 seconds left to go. And I remember a guy, he just came up to me and he said, like, bounce back. He's like, just bounce back. And I mean, that's kind of, I found some openings in that fourth quarter to make a couple layups and to get an and one too. But no, the rest of the overtime was just survive in advance, that one overtime at a time. I mean, there were times where we were up, there were times we were down. The biggest thing is that we just kept staying in it as a family, and we've been preaching about that. We've had so many tough losses over the last month and a half, and just things haven't gone our way, but the camaraderie and the ability for us to hang on each other, even through tough losses, even through tough times, it's never faded. Like, this team is truly a family, and tonight should prove that.
Hey, thank you very much to Doane Tigers. I lifted that off their Twitter. That was really great that they did that. What a performance, 41 points in a 4 overtime game. Hey, Coach Sean Hanrahan, he's been at Warner a long time. I think he's been coaching 24 years, 18 years at Warner. I might have messed up my numbers, but he's been there a long time. He's a great guy, and it's a longer conversation than I normally have, but we just started talking and, just goes on and on. So, because both of us like to talk, I guess. But why don't you just take a listen to this, Coach Sean Hanrahan, Warner University Royals. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D here. Hey, I got Sean Hanrahan. He's the head men's basketball coach, Warner Royals. Welcome, Coach. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Bill. Glad to be here, buddy.
So, I reached out to you. You had a good win the other night. Every win is a good win, right? But whenever you beat a ranked team, that's always a big win. Just talk about the win over Florida Memorial, and that is a good team, isn't it?
Yeah, Florida Memorial is really good. They cover a lot of ground. One of the best defensive teams in the country. I mean, they're 12-1 with a 22 rank. I'm not sure why they wouldn't be top 15, top 12 across the board. I mean, Morningside, OT win, some other really good wins. I mean, they're playing teams, played Masters to a good game. So they were talented. We go into the game, and we're on the road. I have everybody, we got some young kids starting a freshman point guard, which is always an interesting thing to do, and a sophomore at the 4, and then some juniors. So our guys have some experience. They've won 2 conference championships, national tournament appearances, national tournament wins. So they have the pedigree and the DNA. They understand winning. You get out on the floor, and Florida Memorial has an arena. So I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
No, I haven't.
it is a nice facility. They partnered with the city of Miami, and they built a facility that can hold concerts. Like President Obama has spoke in their arena before.
Oh, my
He's had
goodness.
some different meetings. I mean, they've had several different entertainers. I mean, they have a president's box, right? I told my president, listen, you get a box if we get an arena. I'll take it. So we get there, the band's there, good atmosphere. They might have still been on break, but the atmosphere was good, not as crazy as it can be, but it got a little loud. But their team is so connected. The warm-ups, they just 7'3", 6'8", 6'6", long, athletic. And these kids, they're athletic, but they are basketball players, which is why they're 12-1. And I'm watching them play. They have a couple guys that can stretch the floor, but they're really good decision makers with the ball. They don't turn it over. They make you play and move they pack line it like crazy. So I'm just worried about scoring. He send 4 to the glass, which is hard to defend when you're trying to block out some very athletic kids. And then they're very strong with the ball. So it's hard to really kind of create extra possessions, which is what we try to do here and there. Right now, I think we're ranked number 1 on the field goal defensive side.
Yeah.
Right under 40, which is, how we win a lot of games. But started off, they hit a couple shots, before you know it, we're able to get out and run on them a little bit because they send so many to the glass. We match a couple shots, and then we're in a war. We actually took the lead a little bit. We got it up to 14, and the kids were playing hard, playing well. We felt like we found a defensive strategy, a little bit of their DNA, and maybe how we could plug some of those holes. But it didn't work completely as we expected. They had 19 offensive rebounds. And we were able to overcome it, though. We made 11 out of 33 threes, and then we were able to guard them at a pretty high level. They only made 2 threes, just couldn't give up the inside and the out. So we were able to take one of those things away. And it was a really nice win, get the kids back on the winning track. I mean, we beat a good Missouri Baptist team right before that. Missouri Baptist is always in the top 2 in their conference. Preston does an amazing job. They're big, strong. I think it helped us playing those guys before because they're in the passing lanes. They're extremely big. They're like Mobile. They're physical. We've had a really good early season look at a lot of good teams. We saw Freed Hardman play up in Panama City, played against Xavier in Louisiana. They're physical, tough. Played Faulkner. They're going to run like crazy, shoot it. Sanderson's got a great team. So we played Florida College at their place, who, ends up having 2 great wins in Panama City. So I think we were able to, it wasn't a surprise. We saw them, we saw what they were capable of, and it didn't scare anybody. So that's kind of how the game played out. We hit more free throws than them down the end, and we get the dub.
And you get the win. Coach, you touched on your youth. You mentioned Skylar Skull, the freshman out of St. Petersburg, who plays a lot of point for you. But you've got in your top 6, if I counted them right, I think you got 3 sophomores, 3 juniors, 2 sophomores, and a freshman.
Yes.
You got to be, you'll be one of the younger teams with a 9-5. Just talk about your youth. Talk about your team.
Yeah, no, I like them a lot. You don't plan on starting, freshmen, but Skylar Skull came in, played for his dad, coach's kid. Surprise, surprise, right?
Yeah.
Doug Skull at Northside Christian in St. Pete, and they play a very good high school schedule. He plays on a very good AAU team. Watched him play his junior year. He was amazing. Had 15 made threes his junior year in 1 game. Didn't have that in his senior year. Had to share the ball more. Only, averaged 15 a game. Pretty consistent, but just solid, tough. could probably start your watch on your day at 8 a.m. He has not missed one 8 a.m. shooting practice. And I don't schedule at 8 a.m., but every day, 8 a.m., the ball's bouncing, and I go out in the gym and I see him shooting every single day. So you got to love his commitment. And then the freshman of the year, Chris Nurse, who's a sophomore this year, he's got a big time motor. He's starting to learn how to stretch the floor now. So I like the youth. With that comes, we're up 16 against Middle Georgia, and we just completely, the wheels fall off, which usually never happen. I mean, I think it's happened once in, every 10 years, maybe twice when this is my 24th year coaching. So, that you lose to them, you should win. We're up against Faulkner. Okay, you lose to a good team, fine. But we're up against Xavier. This is all within the last 3 minutes of the game. And not a lot, but we're winning in every single one of our games within the last 5 minutes. So it's just a matter of, learning how to finish. That's what we're trying to do. And we did. The last 2 games, we did that. And we've had a successful December. I think we've lost 1 game, like you said, in 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah, you're 7 out of your last 8. But, Coach, isn't that pretty typical? If you have a younger team, they can really perform, and they will always go through a learning period of learning how to finish. I mean, you'll be lucky if you get through that in a half a season, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you don't know when it's gonna turn. These back-to-back wins are definitely momentum wins. We beat Goshen, we beat Aquinas. Goshen doesn't have a great record. Aquinas, man, they compete. They play hard. Their pack line is physical. They remind me of Virginia. In their style defensively. When they make shots, they're really hard to beat. So I think they've had some teams to play against. This is probably one of the tougher schedules we've had. There's definitely some games in there, that were scheduled to where you're supposed to win, right? And
sure.
And we lost one of those. So the other team played above their head. They did some unique things. The coach did a great job. It was our last game before break, the one we did lose. Like, that was probably on paper one of the worst teams. How about that? So, and Middle Georgia, Coach Mo has been there for I don't know how many years. He'll joke if I say it, but 30-something years. I don't know how long he's been there, but since they were at JUCO. And, we're up on them 16. You probably shouldn't lose that game. And the kid comes off the bench, hits 4 threes in 6 possessions. I mean, again, kudos to him. But, that's how close we are to being, 12, or undefeated. Let's say you don't get Xavier and Faulkner, then you still have 2 losses on the year. And then you can flip it, though. You've seen this a million times where we could be 5-9.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am happy with our trend. It is exciting to have young guys because you do practice a little different knowing you're getting everybody back.
Well, that's a good point. You mentioned the sophomores and Skull, the freshman. Talk about Blaze Darling Jr. and Logan West, 2 juniors. I think they're averaging like 34 points between them and 14 rebounds or something. They're really your anchor, it seems.
Absolutely. There's another kid in there, Josh Gleasel. He is like the unsung hero. He went 4 for 7 last game against Florida Memorial. He's a stretch 4. And he's one of those guys where his teammates are always yelling, "Shoot it more!"
He was hurt for a little bit, wasn't he? Or he was out for something.
That stretch hurt us. Yeah, he got hurt in the Middle Georgia game. He was, it hurt us bad. We ended up having some pieces, addition by subtraction that semester. Not bad kids, just kids that were trying to. We have to recruit a kid that wants to be here in so many areas. We want to nurture their spiritual growth, get closer to Christ. We want them to go to class. I'm not babysitting anybody here. They go to class, they do their homework, professors will communicate, they'll do well. And then I want them to be committed to themselves and their team. So, it's that added component. Most NAIA schools, a lot of teams teach character, basketball, and books, but they don't have to teach the Bible. They don't have to encourage that. And that's who we are in our blood. And that's how most of the coaches are. But it's an added component. There's requirements, spiritual growth points. So And all these guys, they buy in. They're different walks. So they're like, all right, some are in the first. If you baseball, right? They're on their way to first. Some are on their way to second, third. Some are
Yeah.
getting to home. Blaze Darling is on home plate and he's waiting for everybody. That's who Blaze Darling is. He could be a preacher. How about this? He's a 4.0 student. He's from Bahamas. He can preach. He can teach. He's a wonderful basketball player. He's got a Dennis Rodman motor with a nasty pull-up. I mean, his pull-up jumper doesn't even use the three to score. He hit 1 3 this year, and it was in the last game because he was so open. People were like, just shoot it, and he makes it.
Yeah, I see you went 1 for 3.
Yeah, I think it was actually 1 for 2, but I think they gave him somebody else. But yeah, he normally doesn't even take it. Like he's probably taking 15 threes on the season. Yeah, or it's just. I mean, are you saying 3 for the season? Is that what he
Well,
is?
that's
for the
what it
season
says. That's what it says on the NAIA stats, but
Yeah, so
that's
that's for the
presto.
whole season. No, that's probably right. 1 for 3 for the whole season. 1 for 2 last game.
Wow.
He's special. Can really guard. Extremely athletic, but just a yes or no sir kid. Logan West is a Jacksonville kid, and both those guys have won 2 conference championships. Been in the national tournament, one national tournament game, one game from the Sweet 16. But Logan West, phenomenal talent, 6'6". I mean, he's streaky shooter, but when he gets it going, he's just a hard guard. He's got a Euro step. He's Jermaine Jones, little was not as big a motor as Russell Westbrook, but unbelievable kid. Like he actually played probably one of his, I wouldn't say a bad game, but not one of his best scoring games. Okay. And I go into the locker room, and because of his spirit, he's not a big talker. He plays the game. He's pretty low key. All of them are like, we are not a rah-rah team. That is just, we are steady. We've always been steady. It's probably me. I'm not a big time cheerleader. Like I'm very positive. I'm not a negative guy, but I'm not like screaming and hollering. I think they kind of play like that.
Okay,
Where the
yeah.
other team, my dad came to a game in Tennessee 6 years ago, and he looks over at, what Chicago team were we playing? I can't remember, but man, they were bouncy. I think they were ranked top 10 in the country, and it wasn't St. X. It was somebody good. Anyway, what's Big Al's old team? Just to be really good up there. He Ruler. He ended up retiring. He's in administration now. But anyway, it was one of his teams. My dad looks down at me and says, "You're about to get beat by 30." He said, "You see how athletic? They're loud and they're clapping. And we're over here smacking the backboard foam. And, we got 2 guys that'll dunk it." And then we end up winning by 25. And I said, "You're not allowed to talk anymore, Pop."
You said you flunked the assistant test.
Yeah, you did. Dude, I love him. I love him to death. My guy, and he still tells me what to do, and I try my best to listen.
Oh, that's funny.
And be a good son. So, Logan West but he's in the locker room, Bill, and he is just cracking jokes and smiling, and he is so happy because he knew that was a hurdle, and he wasn't sure if everybody else understood that. Hey, listen, man, we've won the league 4 out of 6 years, so. Like we're supposed to be able to do this stuff, like have a good time. But winning is kind of part of the culture that he was part of winning or built, and that he continued from the guys before him. So it was good, but he did not care. There's something we've tried to press this year. Family. The idea of family stands for forget about me. I love you.
Oh, okay.
We've tried to press. Yeah,
I like that.
tried to. I'm Mr. Acronym. I like acronyms. If you have any good ones, send them my way. So
sure will.
Yeah, forget about me. I love you. And we've tried hard. I think when you can get a team to do that, you can probably play above yourself. But we have our 2 best shooters went 1 for 9. So and the one's a sophomore, Jamal Norris, who's super talented. Both are sophomores, and Nick Lowry, who's coming off a little bit of an injury. Like those guys are each capable of hitting 4 or 5 threes in a game. So I told him there's still a lot more in the tank, and those are 2 of the other young guys.
You just started the Sun. You played 1 game. I don't want you to look ahead, but I'm looking at your schedule. It's so simple what you got coming. I mean, Ave Maria, St. Thomas, Weber, Kaiser. I mean, just just talk about the Sun Conference and the challenge that it is.
Yeah, it's tough. Because you only have the 8 teams, there's just no gimmies right now. I mean, Southeastern is the worst team in our league. Are you kidding me? Southeastern is just, I mean, they sent a kid to Morehead State, Riley Minix, who could have played in the Big Ten, by the way, could have played for Dana Altman, could have played for a lot of teams around the country. My college roommate's the head coach at Notre Dame, a good friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been best friends since 1995, Micah Shrewsbury. So, and another one of our friends is his associate head coach, Kyle Getter. I was ate up with basketball, Bill, man. In 1999, I started working 10 to 12 camps. I volunteered at Nike to drive coaches around. I had some of the coolest jobs. Any Nike clinic, a guy named Glenn Wilkes and George Raveling. You should probably know Coach Raveling.
Absolutely, yeah.
So those are my two mentors. Those guys connected me to, I said, Coach, I want to work camps. So I probably worked, I don't know, 10 or 12 a summer. So I hung out with guys like Kelvin Sampson, Billy Donovan, and I just ate it up. I mean, all the way back to guys, at Georgia Tech, Garfinkel at 5-star. I got a chance to hang out with these guys for weeks and months, and I would just absorb it all. Just listen and listen and listen. So that was my tutelage. I really appreciate those guys in my life. And so when I look ahead, that's a long intro to say, when I look ahead, man, I'm like, hey, we had a good practice today. I'm going home. I'm going to go watch my freshman son play high school ball, and I'm going to be a dad. It's going to be
There
great.
you go.
Because I do not want to think about having to play Ave Maria. We're watching. They're the third. I mean, for a while, they were the number one scoring team in the country. Now I think they're 3. These guys, they got a kid from Merrimack. He can really ball, but they fly up and down the court.
Yeah, they like to play fast.
This is their best team I've ever seen them have, and I've been in the league 18 years. This is, I think, Weber International's best team they've ever had. He went out into the portal, and he got some players. He's got the leading scorer in the conference, Nesby, who only played a handful of games last year. I have no idea why. And then he has his 2 other leading scorers back. And then he added a really good point guard, a Division I point guard. He's had some luck with some Division I players transferring in. And they're our rival. They're 3 miles away from us.
I didn't realize you guys were that close to Weber. I thought you were closer to Southeastern. Obviously, I was wrong.
Southeastern's 45 minutes away. Weber's 10 minutes away. But Southeastern has been more of our natural rival because they've been really good. I mean, Riley Minix, they won the conference 2 out of the last 4 years. And that's the worst team in the conference. And they beat Mobile. The worst team in our conference beat Mobile, who's really good. Who, by the way, the head coach there is a good friend, an old Butler guy, Coach Stevens. But, there's a tie-in with all these guys.
Coach, I don't know if you pay attention to other leagues at all, but Mobile has a guy named Ezra McKenna. Are you familiar with him?
Player?
Yeah, player.
If I saw him. I watched them play this year, but I don't know the names on the kids on the bench. They are huge.
Yeah, Ezra McKenna in the last, it might be the last, I think maybe game before last, he had 18 rebounds, and last night or the Saturday he had 17 rebounds. Okay, and he's filling the stat line every night.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know the kid's massive. And they have a couple size dudes that size. They're a big, strong team. So Southeastern beat them, but Kaiser's always going to have good transfers. They're I think, one of the best funded team in the conference. Coach Massimino before him, Dante Calabria, and a couple other really good coaches. So they're going to be tough. I mean, right now, Ave is going to be a track meet. We got to slow them down. Saturday, we have St. Thomas, who goes to the Sweet 16 last year, has the second leading scorer on their team, Matthews, who was top 3 in the country in three-point shooting last year. Mm-hmm. And they've got a kid from Georgia. They're huge and athletic. They're very similar to Florida Memorial. And they've played a really good schedule, too. They're 9-4. Florida Memorial and St. Thomas play each other on Wednesday.
Yes, they do.
One of those teams is going to be 0-2. That's ridiculous to start.
They call it the Battle of Miami Gardens. That'll be a good game.
Oh, that'll be nuts. And I think it's the first game where the kids are back on campus. It is going to be crazy. I want to put our game on pause and go watch it.
Yeah. College basketball games are no fun when the students aren't there. I hate when they schedule them during Christmas break, but that's just me.
No, and it's odd. So I've done some different work, NIL work with like guys like Kansas and different teams. So like I was with Kansas in the Bahamas, and it's odd watching these teams play the big time schools in front of 100 people. It's just weird
Exactly.
because they play in these ballrooms. It's like Kingsport, Tennessee. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever been out to that one.
I've watched it. They do a great job putting that on and giving a venue for it, but
Yeah,
it
Cam
just
French
seems
does an
so
amazing
odd.
job.
It just seems so odd. They're like you say, they're playing in a meeting room almost.
Yeah, it's a cool venue too. Like you walk downstairs, you don't leave the hotel, and it's a beautiful little resort in Kingsport, the Marriott. The Panama City one's really nice. They actually get more people in Kingsport than they do Panama City. I've been to both now. The Kingsport we have to fly to, but they're really good tournaments, really good events. That's where it would be nice to be able to see, but it's during Thanksgiving. Some of these teams that you don't see out west, if they had one. I'm sure some of our teams in the Midwest and on this side of the Mississippi would travel out west if somebody hosted. So then you got the Kaiser and the Weber. So I mean they're all really good. I mean if you look at all the records, nobody has a losing record. Yeah, and we're going to start beating up on each other. The league has not gotten a lot of recognition because we have some of these awkward teams in Florida, like Florida National,
Yeah.
and they're the outliers, right?
Yeah.
People know how good Florida College is.
Well,
'Cause
let me
play.
stop you. How hard is it to play at Florida National? I understand it's a very odd place to play.
Bucky Dent Recreation Center, Bill. Bucky Dent. I mean, I just like saying it.
Well, say it again.
Bucky Dent Recreation Gymnasium / Aqua Center. It's you're getting dressed in somebody's office with your team.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They finally cleared out. They did. That was 2-3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And they finally cleared out 2 of the closets, and they made those in the locker room, like storage units, not stored equipment closets. So they're a little bigger. That's a locker room now, right behind you. It's tough, man. It is tough. But I'll tell you what's also tough is Coach Molina he is one of the legendary, like, high-level high school coaches in Miami for years, and he took over.
Okay.
And before him was a guy named J.J. Thatcher, and he could recruit, man. But they're in Miami. There is always. And they give pretty good scholarships, Coach. I'm telling you, they give good scholarships. This is not hey, we're worried about our money. Nope. Go get you some kids. Full rides. They'll find them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Their hang up is they don't have a gym, so sometimes they have to play at the old Johnson and Wales gym, which is actually really nice. They should try to make that their home.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's small, but it's nice. But yeah, tough place to play. Bucky Dent.
Honestly, the first time I heard of that was after Ave Maria got beat. I already had the coach scheduled. And I said, well, and he told me, he goes, we've never won there. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, it's such an odd place. He said, it's just a rec gym. Anyway, that I didn't know that, but yeah, that's too bad. If they got that money, it's too bad they can't get a better place to play. Maybe bring some more athletes in. Coach, I probably kept you longer than I had planned, but I really appreciate you giving us all the time. Hopefully we can get you back on when this sun really gets going and hot and heavy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, but we'll take the win and see if we can move forward. So how's Copeland? You interviewed him, Jamin. What's he going to do against? What's his secret?
He said he's going to beat you by 20.
Oh.
No.
Hey,
I'm just causing problems. You're going to get me in trouble with him now.
No,
I'm just
that's
teasing.
Good. He's my buddy. That's all right. He's very muscular and fit, so we always tell him, could you wear one size larger clothes, please? We don't need to see your biceps.
Oh, my gosh.
He's unbelievable, man. That dude can
Maybe
coach.
you'll just cancel the game and you'll wrestle him at center court. How about that?
No, I'm not doing that. I'm faster than him, I hope. My knees are bad.
Oh, you're funny. Well, trust me, I'm trying to see where you play them. Oh, you play them at home then. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 2 at home, and it'll be an interesting game because, you play such good teams. But what'll be interesting, and this is where, above my door, I've got to teach the game, right? Don't yell the game. Don't scream the game. Don't get mad. Just teach. And so try to really keep it. That's all this is. We try to teach them, and they're going to keep coming. Every game is going to be extremely difficult. A lot of the time, I'm curious at the end of the year, and this is where it'll be interesting. How many losses does the winner have, right? It's always kind of an interesting thing,
Yeah.
You have, is it going to be, usually it's 4, but this year, is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 6? Is it because of the parity? It's an interesting year. There's, back in the day, Johnson and Wales usually wouldn't have a great record, or Weber might not have a great record. Well, that's not the case. Like he has shown for 2 years now, they're going to win. Johnson Wales is not in the league anymore. It's an interesting thing to see where it's going to shake out.
Well, it's pretty exciting because not only the Sun, I mean, just the quality level of quality all across the NAI, all the conferences is just, it's amazing. I mean,
It is.
every conference, that every night, the parity across the country, you're always going to have that bottom 75 or maybe even 100 that are going to have trouble competing. But that top 150, I mean, almost anybody can beat anybody.
Yes, you have to show up every night.
Yeah.
You can have a couple good wins, and then you can have 3 games where you play pretty well and you still lose.
Yeah, look at Northwestern. Goes over to Mount Marty.
Yeah.
Now, Mount Marty hadn't won a league game. They were 0-6, and they beat Northwestern, ranked 13th in the country.
How about that?
And then
Yeah.
Briarcliff loses to who was it? Doane in 4 overtimes.
Right.
That league is crazy too, though. The GPAC is crazy.
GPAC's really good. A buddy of mine. So my old assistant is the head coach at Tabor College, and he's really young. He starts 2 freshmen and a sophomore.
Yeah, they just
he's
fell to
building a
Kansas
program.
Wesleyan.
Yes, but they played Northwestern. So Corver and I we were Raiders together. We were, we'd sit at all those tables, and it was just some good times, man. And I think he's going to be really good. They're hard to stop. Northwestern actually plays very similar to Ave Maria. They want to get that ball up the sideline. Defense is optional, but you can't outscore them.
Yeah.
I mean, Ave just scored 101 on Southeastern, and they're usually pretty good defensively. Southeastern scored 93, which is probably one of their highs this year, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't, which is unique because Jamin usually is, he's usually more focused on the defensive end. I think he went out and he's like, all right, we're going to get that ball and go. And
yeah. Well, I think a lot of that just has to do with their personnel because they're a little bit smaller this
Yes.
year. And sometimes you just got to go with what you brought,
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, you do. And he's like, I'm going to go get some guys that can put that ball in the bucket. Buddy, will you have a great one? I enjoyed the conversation.
Hey, thanks so much, Coach. Really appreciate you giving me the time. That's Coach Sean Hanrahan, head coach of the Warner Royals. Thank you, Coach.
God bless, Bill. Have a good one.
Thank you. Hey, thank you very much to Coach Hanrahan giving us the time. I thought it was a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as well. He kind of cracked me up. He's kind of funny. But he had a lot of great points, too. It was a really interesting conversation. There was just a few games tonight. But this game right here down Lingle Court, down on the campus of IU East, was a River States Conference battle. This game was a shootout, 3-point down the last, 5-10 minutes or something. Somebody would go up by 3, the other team would hit a 3, then they hit a 3, then the other team would hit a 3. It just went back and forth. I don't think anybody till really late in the game got more than one possession ahead. Down the stretch that last minute, West Virginia Tech executed a little better, hit their free throws, and they went on to win the game. Andrew Work, he scored 30 points, 8 rebounds for West Virginia Tech, and Ashton Parker, 24 points, 11 rebounds for the double-double, and West Virginia Tech wins 93-89. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow And I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to get out and support your local NAIA team, because you already know it. NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.